Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Absolute Beginner tutorial for Git and GitHub. Now, I'd like to congratulate you for coming this far ahead into the course and having created your first commit and first push onto your own GitHub repository. Well done. Now, in this lesson, we will be diving ahead and learning how the Git branching system actually works. We will be learning about how to create a new branch, how to navigate between multiple branches in the Git ecosystem. We will be also learning how to create something called as a pull request onto the GitHub platform and having our code merged into the main branch, because that is our eventual goal with developing any feature that we want to deploy it into the production environment for the end users. And there's only one branch that is always that we have to keep production ready, which is the main branch. So with that being said, let's get started. But before we actually move ahead, I'd like to brush up on the definition of what a Git branch actually is. Well, a Git branch is nothing but just a version of your code base. So let's dive in and see this little diagram that would help you understand what we actually are going to do in here. So currently we are on the main branch. And if you remember right from the last lesson, we had made our first commit and pushed it onto the remote repository and into our local repository, which was the add readme file commit. Now, let's just navigate to the GitHub platform and actually see that in action. Well, you can see that we are currently on the main branch by clicking on this drop-down menu and seeing that we are on the main branch. There's a tick mark in front of it, and it's the default branch that whenever we create any Git repository, it automatically creates a default branch, which is the main branch. Now, if we refresh this page, and we can also see, by the way, our commit message over here, which says add readme.md file, which we did in the last lesson. Now, since we have only one commit present in this file, so we are just viewing it from here. But if you have more than one commits, which we will have in the later lessons, so we can navigate onto this time symbol, which also says that one commit. By clicking on here, you can see the commits within that particular branch, which is selected from the drop-down menu, which in this case is the main branch. And right over here, in the right hand side, you can see some hexadecimal value, which actually is the commit hash for this Git commit. Now, if you remember, I had mentioned that every commit that we create comes with a hash value, which denotes who made the commit and at what time that commit was made. All those things combined together creates a unique hash, which uniquely identifies every commit across the entire repository, across all the branches within the repository, to distinguish that who has made these changes. And it acts as a snapshot that you can always go back to if something goes wrong. So if we navigate into this add readme.md file, if you click on this, what you can see is the content that we added into this readme.md file, which is, this is a Git repository that is created to learn Git. And it's being shown in the green color, which signifies that this content was added into this file. Had it been in red color, it would have signified that we deleted something from this file. Now, let's go ahead back into the code section, and again, clicking on this drop-down menu, we can clearly see that we do not have any other branches. We can also click on this view all branches, and we are just having one single branch, which was the main branch. So now let's go ahead. Oh, by the way, before we go ahead, actually, what we actually want to do is that from this add readme.md commit, which is present in the main branch, we are going to take out a new branch called as feet/hello world, and this name can be anything. I mean, whatever name that you prefer could be fine. So we are going to create a new branch which is taken out from this particular point in time, or this particular checkpoint in time, which was the latest commit in the main branch. So we're going to take that latest commit and pull a new branch out of it, which will have all the changes that are present or that were present at the time of checking out in the main branch. So let's go ahead and open our terminal in Mac, or for Windows users, I'd suggest using git bash for all these things. Let me just zoom in a little bit so that you can clearly see what I am doing over here. All right. So let's navigate onto our Git learning Git repository directory path, which for my case is this one. You just use the cd command for changing the directory and navigate onto the learning Git directory that is there on your system. And within this directory, just press code space dot, just type code space dot and hit enter. That should open the VS Code for you. If it's not, if the code dot command is not available, just open the VS Code anywhere and just, press Command Shift P or Control Shift B in case of Windows, and just type code, and you'll be see that shell command install code command in path. Just click on that. This would install the code dot command onto your file path, and from that point onwards, just restart your terminal and navigate back to the learning Git and just type code space dot. It should open the VS Code for you. All right, now once you open the VS Code, I'd like you to open the integrated terminal that comes with the VS Code by pressing Command J if you're on a Mac, or Control J if you are on a Windows machine. And once we do that, we are going to type git space branch, hit enter, and you'll be able to see that we currently have just one branch, which is the main branch, and there's an asterisk in front of this branch, which means that we are currently on this particular branch. Now, again, you can minimize the terminal by pressing Command J or Control J. Navigate to this file menu or file explorer by clicking on here, or otherwise we can use the shortcut of Command B or Control B if you are on a Windows machine. So we just have this readme.md file over here. Now what we want to do is we want to add a new feature. In this case, it would be a very simple print statement of hello world on the terminal. So to have that feature in place, we will not be writing the code directly into the main branch, because that is the production ready branch, and something could go wrong with our new features, and we would never want to have a broken code pushed into the main branch. Eventually, sometimes it does happen, but that's a bug. But we never intend to push any breaking or testing halfly baked or halfly tested code into the main branch. So it's always a better idea that you open the integrated terminal, just close the file explorer, or you can keep it as open, however you like. Now let's create a new branch. So the command to create a new branch is git space branch, and then comes the branch name, which in our case would be feat, stands for feature, and hello-world. Hit enter, and there's no error on the terminal, which means that it should have been created. Just to clarify or prove that, let's say git branch one more time, and now you can see we have two branches. One is the main branch, which has the asterisk right in front of it. That means we are presently on this main branch, and we also have the feat/hello world branch over here. So what we need to do is we need to go to this branch or navigate onto this branch before we actually start typing any changes that are related to some untested code, which in this case is our feature code of printing hello world on the terminal. So the command to navigate onto this branch is git space checkout, and then the branch name on which you want to go to or navigate to or check out to. In this case, is feat /hello-world. And it says that switched to branch feat/hello world. Let's just prove that we are on the correct branch. So if you type git branch, now we have the asterisk and the green color on the feat/hello world branch, which signifies that we have shifted over from the main branch onto this feat/hello world branch. And now we are safe to do anything in here, because whatever we are going to do in this branch is not going to hurt the main branch. All right. And by the way, we can also create branches in a shorthanded way. I just showed you two commands, which was the git branch and then branch name, and git checkout and then branch name. Now you can combine these two commands into one single command. Before we actually do that, let's just check out back onto the main branch. If we say git branch, we are being shown that we are currently on the main branch with the asterisk right over in front of it. And what we can do is that we can say git checkout -b, first it stands for like create the new branch and check out onto it, and then comes the branch name. Let's say feat/feature2. This is just a random name. I mean, you can choose whatever branch names that you prefer. In my case, I'm just choosing feat/feature2, and feat stands for feature. So let's just type, hit enter. So it says that switched to a new branch. So that should signify that it must have created the branch first and then checked out onto it. Let's just prove the point by typing git branch. Now we see that we have 3 branches in here, which is the feat/feature2. We have the feat/hello world, which we are going to work on, and we have the main branch. And you can create as many branches as you like. So let's just check out back onto the feat/hello-world, wherein we are going to write our first feature, which will be a very simple console log statement, or the print statement in other languages, that will print the hello world onto the terminal. So let's just go ahead and click on this new file icon and type in index.js. Now, this is a JavaScript file, but you are again free to choose any language that you are comfortable working with, since this is not a JavaScript or Node.js course. But I'm just choosing these 2 languages because I just want to keep things as professional as possible, or close to the realistic environment where you would have been facing different kind of challenges while working with the code. So, but again, this is not language. This is completely language agnostic, and you are free to choose any language. But I suggest you go along and use the same language just to stay on track with me. And I'd be trying to explain every single command that I'm typing in here, whether that be in Node or in JavaScript. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to type console.log, which just stands for the print statement in other languages. I'm going to say hello world, and I'm going to save that. So if you want to try running this, we'll just say node, which we installed in the earlier lessons. So just type node and just type the path to this file, which is the index.js file. And if you do this, you would see that hello world is printed right over here. Now, I'm not going to explain how Node actually works because this is not a Node.js course, but let's just keep that for a later lesson. We will be creating a Node.js server, and in there I'll be trying to explain every single piece of code that I write, but just bear with me for this lesson. So now we have tested that the console statement is working just fine. So it's time to push our tested code into the production. And for that to happen, we first need to synchronize our feature branch, which in this case is the feat hello world branch. And we need to push this onto our remote repository, and we need to commit all these changes into our local and remote, both of these repositories. So if we type git status, we can see that we have one file which is untracked, and any new files, as I last mentioned, any new files that are created are gonna be listed in the untracked files. Okay, so we need to add this file. Let's just quickly go back to take a refresher on the Git workflow diagram. Yeah, so right over here, let me just zoom in a bit. So currently we are working in the working area. Any changes that we make into any file or any modifications, any files that are newly created or deleted are going to be there in the working area. And to add all these changes into the staging area, we need to type the git add command and then the file path, or otherwise we can use a dot or a period operator to signify that we want to add all the files which are in the working area into the staging area. And the staging area, whatever files are there, are going to be signified that whenever we create a git commit, all the piece of code and all the files that are present in the staging area will be packed together into one single commit and will be committed into our local repository. And then we make use of the git push command to synchronize all the changes which are present in the local repository and are not synchronized onto the remote repository will be pushed and synchronized into the remote repository. All right, let's go ahead and add these index.js changes into our staging area. Now I can do this. I can type the file name, or otherwise, since this is just one file, I can use the dot or the period operator to add all the changes in just one shot into the staging area. Now we did that. Let's just clear the terminal and now type git status. And you see that it's now being shown in the green color, which signifies that these files or these changes are currently present in the staging area. It also says that changes to be committed, which means Git knows that these are in the staging area and these are ready to be committed. So let's go ahead and type the git commit command. this time with the -m flag as a shorthand for writing the message for the commit. And let's just type add index.js file. All right, let's hit enter, and the commit has been made. Now, there's one more command that you can use to visualize these commits, as we were doing on this platform, on this GitHub platform, when we were in the code and we clicked on these commits and we are able to see the commits and the commits hash. This same thing you can also do on your local system. You have to type git space log. When you hit enter, you would be able to see all the commits that you have been making so far. So this was the first commit that we made inside of this repository, which generated this particular commit hash. And it also tells you the author. And this is the thing that I was talking about, the username. When you set the git config user.name and you add your name over here. Now this name is something which is appearing over here. And the email you provided is going to be appearing over here. And the time of the commit, and all these changes are packed together into this commit hash that's being generated out of all these things, and the file path changes as well. So every commit is unique to yourself because the username, the email address would be unique. All right. So again, we type git log, and this was the first commit, which was around add readme.md file, and this the add index.js file commit is something which we just created. It's showing the today's date as well. All right, so let's go ahead and commit the. So we have already made the commits. Let's just go ahead and type git status. It says nothing to commit, working tree clean, which means that all the changes that we were having have been committed into our local repository. Now all is left is to push these changes with the git push command. And I'm going to say git push origin and then the branch name. Now we are not going to say main over here because we are not currently working with the main branch. We do not want to touch that branch. We want to synchronize our changes into the feat/feature. I mean, what was that branch name? You can also refer the branch name by typing git branch. All right, git push origin feat/hello world. Now that was a branch name. So we want to synchronize our feat hello world branch, the local repository version, to the remote repository version of the feat hello world branch. Now before I hit enter, let's just go ahead and quickly confirm that we just have one branch. Now we are not seeing any other branch other than the main branch over here. If you click on view all branches, again we are not seeing any other branch, so we are good to go. If I hit enter, it should create and synchronize our feat hello world branch onto our remote repository from our local repository. It also signifies that happening from over here, like the remote, this is the local repository version of the feat hello world, and that has been synchronized into the feat hello world onto the remote repository. And it also says that the new branch has been created. All right, let's just go ahead and confirm if the new branch has been created on the GitHub platform as well. Just go ahead into your code or otherwise into your branches and just hit refresh. We should be able to see the feat hello world branch over here. Let's just navigate to the code section. And if we go ahead and click on this drop down menu, now we are seeing the feat hello world branch over here as well. Now this proves the version control as well. How? Let's just see. In the main branch, we are seeing just one file. If we navigate onto the feat hello world branch, we are seeing two files and two commit messages. And if we see over here, we see two commits. If we navigate back to the main, we just see one commit over here. So with this being said, you can have as many branches as you like in a single repository, which would create as many versions as you like in your project. And you can manage all these versions in a different way that you want to. All right. Now, eventually, what we really want is that we want those changes which we have tested and have confirmedly completed. Now, we want to merge these changes into the main branch so that those can be deployed to the production server, to our end users, because that's the overall objective, to create new features and then merge them into the main branch for them to serve the end user with the new product features. All right. To do that, we are also seeing that there's a message coming up over here which says compare and pull request. Now it's asking us to pull a request, and what does pull request actually mean? Let's just go ahead and see that in a small diagram. So what is a pull request? Well, a pull request is a proposal to merge a set of changes from one branch into another. In a pull request, collaborators can review and discuss the proposed changes before they actually get integrated into the main code base, because it is super essential when you are working on a feature for a far long time. It is super essential to have another set of eyes looking onto that code, trying to find some bugs or something missing or something misleading, which could eventually break the production environment or production application. We never want to do that. So it's always good to have your code reviewed by your peers or your seniors who have been working into the project for a far long time than you. They would have a better idea, or your peers might have worked on something which is conflicting with what you have created and can potentially break the system. Because we always have so many developers working on so many different things, it becomes very difficult to track every single change. So it's always better to have your code reviewed. So let's just create a pull request onto the GitHub platform and try to merge these changes into our main branch for them to be deployed as a production ready code to our end users. All right. Now we're not going to click over here because this particular prompt only comes when you have just recently made some changes or have created some changes into a branch that you just recently created. After 5 minutes, this won't be there. So what you can do is you can go ahead and click on this tab which says the pull requests. Click on this tab, and we are seeing this message over here as well. Just ignore this. We are going to create a pull request from over here, but we can do the same thing from over here as well. But since we are not going to do this because this is going to be gone in a few minutes, so let's just go ahead and click on new pull request. Now this is the source branch and this is the target branch. This is the branch that we want to get pulled into this target branch, which is in this case is the main branch. Now it's saying that able to merge, which is showing a tick mark and a green color as well, because it is not conflicting with any of the changes that are currently present in the main branch. Now in the later lessons, we will be creating such scenarios to demonstrate that more than one people are actually working in this project. I'll be creating multiple branches that are going to change the same files on the same line of code so that we can have the situation as close to as a real environment where you would be facing conflicts. Like you will be having one piece of code saying something and the other piece of code saying something from different branches for the same file on the same line number. And how do you resolve those conditions? We will be learning ahead into the later lessons within this course. But for this time, let's keep things simple. And we do not have any conflicts as of now. So it's saying that able to merge, and with a tick mark that we can go ahead and merge this into, we are going to be able to merge these changes into the main branch. Now quickly, if we go down below, we can see the changes that we have made is showing one changed file with one addition and 0 deletions. All right, so we are going to see this in green color, which means that we have added this piece of code into the index.js file. So we are good with that, and it says one contributor, which in this case is myself, which is being shown over here as well. Let's just go ahead and click on create pull request. Now it's opening this menu, which is going to add, which is where you can add some title, which is where you can add some description as well. So let's just say that added index.js file with a console statement for printing hello world. Just be as much descriptive as possible to what you have done in this particular commit, because it's a checkpoint, so that when you are working far down the line, few months after of creating this commit, and you want to get back to this commit to refer it to, you can type in any statement in the search bar within the merged requests tab to see this particular commit, and it will become very easy for you to find this if you add some proper description and proper title into your pull requests. Now on the right hand side, you can see that it says that reviewers, no reviewers, assignee. The first term actually means that who are the people that you would want to have this code reviewed from. It could be your peers, it could be your managers. I mean, any person who would have a better idea, or at least a similar idea as you have about the code base, and can point out some potential vulnerabilities into your code. So it's always good to have more than one pair of eyes looking at the code just to ensure the correctness of the code. And yeah, that's what the reviewer is for. Once the reviewer completes reviewing your code, he can either start a thread or a thread with some comments that they might find you to look at to and correct your code. Otherwise, they can accept your pull request. Well, the assignee is someone who has done this code, which in this case is myself, and it says assign to yourself. That's what I'm going to do over here. And I'm going to say create pull request. Now, since I'm the owner of this particular repository, I'm going to go ahead and merge the pull request. But this is something in a production environment, in an office setting, is something that you wouldn't be able to do. If you are the one who's creating the pull request, you wouldn't be able to merge this because they usually have rules set in that somebody who has created the pull request shouldn't be able to merge unless and until few of the people, which could be as many as they would want to in the rules, have reviewed the code and have accepted that the changes are correct. All right, so let's just go ahead and merge the pull request. Once we do that, we would have all these changes, which is the addition of the index.js file, merged into the main branch, which currently just have the readme.md file. So let's click on merge pull request, confirm the merge, and it would take some time, but yeah, it says that pull request successfully merged and closed. All right, let's navigate back to the code section. And now in here, within the main tab, within the main branch, actually, you can see that we have the readme.md file and we have the index.js file as well. And on the right hand side, we can see 3 commits. All right, what is this third commit about? So whenever you merge something into the main branch via the pull request, the original commits that you have done will be there, but in addition to that, a merge commit would also be created. Now this we can omit by using some different merging strategies, which we are going to talk about in the later lessons. But for this time, let's just see that let's just accept that we are going to have a merge commit that is going to signify that something has been merged into the main branch or any other branch that you are raising a pull request towards. All right, so we have these changes onto our remote repository. Let's just go ahead into our local repository and confirm that do we have these changes over into our local repository's main branch as well or not. So let's just check which branch are we currently on. Git status. We are currently on branch feet hello world. We can also confirm this by typing git branch, hit enter. We are currently on the feet hello world branch. If you type command B and open this file explorer, you would see that we have 2 files over here, which is the readme.md file and the index.js file with the console statement for the hello world. And if we are going to check out onto the main branch, which we use for navigating between branches, you would see that the index file has been gone from here. And it says it shows a strike through on this, which means that this file is not present onto our local repository. Strange. Why is that? Because we certainly have this onto our remote repository. Well, time for a quick diagram again. So what happens is that whenever you want something to be synchronized from your local repository to the remote repository, you make use of the git push command. On the other hand, whenever you would want some remote repository changes for a specific branch to be incorporated into your local repository version of that branch, you would use a git pull command. All right, so let's go ahead and make use of it. We're going to say git pull, and I'm going to open the Explorer tab for you to see in action. Git pull, and we are currently on the main branch, and that's the branch that we want to pull the changes for from the remote repository into our local repository. Hit enter. Oh, I forgot to add origin in here. So let's say git pull origin, which signifies the path to our remote repository. And we say we want to pull from this origin, which is the remote repository, and we want to pull the main branch from there. So hit enter, and it's going to take some time. It's going to pull these changes, and it has shown that it's fast forwarding it, and it has changed one file, which is, it added one line. It says the plus, which signifies addition, and it says 1, which means it added one line into this file. And now we can see this file index.js, and we have the changes right in here. All right, so this is how we create branches in Git. This is how we push the changes onto our remote repository, and we pull the changes from remote repository into our local repository. And with that being said, we are set to add more changes with more complex statements in the later lessons. So I'll catch up with you all in the next lesson.